Join us and our crew on our adventures as we explore the amazing world around us. Welcome to our boat and home sea venture. We hope your time with us is both entertaining and inspiring. This morning, it's about 7 a.m., not quite. We're getting ready to head out and leave Fury Cove and go around Cape Caution. We spent an extra day here yesterday just to kind of rest up from the 4 long travel days we'd had, and because we really like this anchorage. It's quite beautiful, even if we can't get off the boat. And the weather today looked a little bit better around Cape Caution than yesterday, so looks pretty cool. The other thing that's nice about this anchorage is when you're here, you can kind of peek out into Fitzhugh Sound, and last night it was quite tumultuous with lots of wind and wave action going on out there, but it looks pretty good right now. So we'll head out and make our way around Cape Caution now. We've just headed out of Fury Cove and already have to steer around debris. But this one's entertaining. It's got lots of birds on it. All right, it's starting to get a little rolly. So Jim is going to throw the fish in. We added the retrieval lines back because we know that we want the fish in, fish out kind of thing over the course of our day of travel today. When we were crossing the Gulf, we removed the retrieval lines, so it just kept it simpler out when we knew we were going to be going for days on end. So there you go.
Continuing to our journey south, it's July 15th, 8:10 a.m. Left Fury Cove a little more than an hour ago, headed toward Cape Caution. Very gentle swell out of the southwest. Really no wind. Very nice. Just deployed the paravanes a little bit ago to stop the little bit of rolling that we had. But really nice conditions, going about 7.5 knots. So July 15th, we left Prince William Sound 15 days ago. We've traveled 1,000 miles or so in 10 travel days. So doing good, about 350 miles to go to Everett. And when we go from Valdez to Everett, I think that's about halfway to Mexico. But doing good. So today, rounding Cape Caution. Talked about this before. It's open exposure to the Pacific. It's a barrier for a lot of potential cruisers coming north when I don't think it should be. There's lots of good weather information. I would always recommend you follow Mark's advice in the Wagoneer, and that is listen on the radio for the West Sea Otter buoy. And if it's 1.3 meters or less, that's a good weather to go. And I think Mark's talking about, the average cruising boat, not stabilized, and you can round Cape Caution here. You'll only need about you're only exposed for about 30 miles, 25 to 30 miles. So it's not, you're not looking for the 70-hour weather window that you are to cross the Gulf of Alaska. You're looking for a 5-hour weather window to round Cape Caution, and you can do that. When we get to Cape Caution, we'll listen to the radio and see what the West Sea Otter buoy real-time report is. But right now, I'd say this is under 1 meter right now. So we're looking really good. Rounding Cape Caution, 9:30 this morning. Cape Caution's about 3 miles ahead or so on the port side. So looking good. Just listen to the radio. West Sea Otter buoy, which is off here to the starboard out in the ocean. It's our buoy that we listen to for good weather around Cape Caution, is showing a 0.7 meters. So literally a gentle 2-foot swell. Our first rounding of Cape Caution was in 2006, and I think this is probably the calmest we have ever seen it. It's really, really nice. So just relaxing and looking forward to our cruise the rest of the day. Blake's getting brushed in the galley.
Yeah.
Something that actually he really, really enjoys, being brushed. So Rosie's on cat entertainment duty, and I'm just sitting here in the helm looking out the window. A couple commercial fish boats around, but otherwise nothing else really going on.
Cape Caution. This is Cape Caution right here. We've rounded Cape Caution as we head southbound. There's the Matanuska Ferry right there. And this is the look out the window. It's a fabulously calm crossing. And I'll walk over here and show you there is the ferry. What's their heading, do you know? Did you look?
Where they headed to?
Yeah.
Ketchikan.
Ketchikan. So far it's about 4 in the afternoon. It's been a great day. We're cruising on the east side of Malcolm Island, and this is Lizard Point here. It looks like there's a lot of debris washed up on the beach. I bet the Queen Charlotte Strait here can get pretty roiled up in the winter. At any rate, and there's a boat over there. We're heading, of course, southbound on the backside of Malcolm Island on the east side. And this is the Strait. Take a look. Just calm waters. We've been making some great time, and these calm waters sure make it a lot more manageable when we go for several hours. We're heading up to Blackfish Sound that way. We're in Blackfish Sound, and that is the Double Bay area that we frequented quite a bit in our early years of our marriage in a small 17-foot family boat that we brought up here, and we did a lot of fishing here in Blackfish Sound and this part of the Broughton Islands. So it's kind of like homecoming back to this area. It's beautiful, and it's just nice to see it again. We're in the channel where Blackfish Sound meets Johnstone Strait, and we have the current with us. And currently we've been running about around 7.5, upwards of 8 for most of the day. We just topped 11 right now, and it's remarkable to see this water so calm with so much current behind it. We've been here when it's been 2 and 3 foot confused seas, and so it's pretty amazing to see it so flat and to have such a push from the current. We'll see if we can make it all the way into Johnstone Strait without any issues.
Here before.
Yeah, we're entering Johnstone Strait. We're doing 11.5. It was 12 a moment ago, and there's our whirling current that we have to work with as we get into the strait. Oh yeah. They're coming from everywhere. There's some more coming from over there. See if I can show you them. There's one. Whew. Oh, there's one down on the bulb.
3 down on the ball.
Oh my gosh. It's hard to see them for all the splashes. Huh?
Just try to film this.
We're cruising down southbound in Johnstone Strait. We are just outside of Port Neville, which is right here. It's about not quite 9 p.m., 8:50, I think. And the anchorage we're going to is just up ahead, about 5 more miles, and to our left. We're going to duck in over there and settle in for the night, and then we will take off early the next morning and head the rest of the way southbound Johnstone Strait until we get to, I don't know where we're going to turn off. To where we're going to turn off, we should have the current with us in the morning, but this is the tail end of the current this direction, and we need to give it 6 hours, so we're going to get some sleep and then head off again in the morning with the next round of current.
At 9:30 at night, anchored after a 14 and a half hour day running today in this what's the name of this bay? Blenkinsop or something, right off of Johnstone Strait. As we cruised, we came down Johnstone Strait because the forecast called for 15 to 20 knots of wind, maybe even more. Then that forecast got tempered down a little bit. First they're talking about 30, now 15 to 20. From behind us, really didn't hardly notice till we turned into the bay and then anchored in 15 to 20 knots of wind here in the anchorage, but very little fetch. We're just barely off the strait, but here and done. So 40 feet of water, 300 feet of half-inch chain out, big, huge space. So all good. The only downside is that it's a long day and we need anchor up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. So otherwise we're here and set. Time to relax a little bit with the cats and a cat of wine and Rosie. And
cat of wine?
Glass of wine. Relax for a moment with the cats, a glass of wine, and Rosie, and call it a night.
We're continuing southbound in Johnstone Strait. We're going to take the next channel to the left and work our way towards Greenpoint, Dent Rapids, Ucolta Rapids, that area. Looks like our timing will be okay to catch the morning slack around 10 a.m. The wind settled out overnight, actually just in the early morning hours, and we've had a good run and averaging around 8-9 knots. We've seen upwards of 11 as the current is in our favor, so that's been kind of fun. But at any rate, we're making good progress this morning. We are cruising by Blind Channel Resort. We haven't been here in quite a while, but I recall many years ago celebrating our daughter's 5th birthday here. We're passing Shoal Bay, another place we used to spend a lot of time at.
Security motor vessel Sea Venture southbound Dent Gillard Ucolta Rapids, 10 minutes. Any post concern traffic? Channel 16, Sea Venture out.
All right, next round is Gillard. We passed like 5 vessels. And we have this lovely current against us, but it's okay. We're gonna make it at 4.6 knots. On to Ucolta. There are at least a dozen eagles on this island. I think they're just here for all the turbulent current and whatever washes up. We're in Ucolta, between Ucolta and Gillard Rapids. We're a little late, so we're fighting it and doing about 4.5, 5 knots. as we work our way through Yakulta here in the Big Bay area. Cruising southbound behind the Copeland Islands, escaping a little bit of the wind with the rest of the British Columbia's vessels. We just got settled in Blubber Bay on Texada Island at the north end. It is not our first choice of anchorage, but after taking a look, we figured out that it was the best protected from the southeast winds that we're having. And we've had a good 20 to 30 knots of wind all day today, or all afternoon. So at any rate, we tucked in here. There's a ferry terminal here. And we just got the anchor down and sat down with a glass of wine, and the ferry came in. So kind of fun to see that.
All right, hopefully you can see me. 4:20 in the morning right now. We've left our last anchorage, planned anchorage in Canada. Anchored up about 3:30 in the morning in the dark and out of a bay with hopes of catching some good current. And so far, so good. So you can look out the front, but there's nothing to see. And better yet, look at the flare so you can see what we see with our flare cruising at night. So that's the view we have from the flare.
Notice the calm water.
Yes, very calm water compared to yesterday's lumpiness. So we should hopefully have a good crossing of the Strait of Georgia today and down the open water toward the San Juans and the U.S.-Canadian border. I think we are 2 days out from completing this transit. So far, so good. We've been, a week? Longer, 2 weeks, pointed directly toward La Paz. Not really, but in that general direction at least. So we're doing good. When we get back to Everett, compared to Valdez, Alaska, we will be halfway to Mexico, actually, but about 1,350 nautical miles. So looking good.
Good morning from the Strait of Georgia. It is 6 a.m. and we are just at the southern end of Texada Island, and the sun is coming out. Woohoo! There's Nanaimo. We're in the Strait of Georgia, and there's Nanaimo to our starboard side. And just a little bit of traffic and some really nice water as we head south. anchorage at Spencer Spit. And now we've got a fair bit of wind, but we're working our way into the Strait. It's about 5 in the morning. Hoping to catch the current southbound on into Everett.
Well, after more than a year away from Everett, we're on our final home stretch. We'll be there a little bit after lunchtime. It's 5:45 in the morning. We left early this morning. You can see all this moving water. Lots of current where we are now out in Rosario Strait. So these are our old stomping grounds. You know, we've boated in this area for almost 30 years. Woo! Going for a ride there in the current. You can see it in front of the boat here. So it's just critical if you're going to boat in the San Juan Islands in the Northwest to have a full understanding of the currents and their impact on your boating. Well, I may have to take over here for a moment. This may get to be too much for the autopilot. It just makes all the difference in the world. We are currently traveling at 10.8 knots. So we are getting almost a 4 knot or maybe 3 knot push by the current. Maybe a little more than 3 knots. So we could be here doing 4 knots just as well. Our 5 a.m. departure this morning was in part to help us reduce the chance of wind in the Strait of Juan de Fuca when we cross there, which can often have very strong winds out of the west. I think there's a gale for later today, but not this morning forecasted for there, so we should be good. And to take advantage of these currents. So it's a strong outgoing current right now, pushing us south out of the San Juan Islands, and then it'll switch while we're in the Strait of Juan de Fuca crossing, and then we should have a strong inbound current at Admiralty Inlet pushing us into Puget Sound and on to Everett. So that's the plan. Hard to imagine after more than 14 months away from Everett that we'll be back today. 5,500 nautical miles later, somewhere around there. We'll figure it all out exactly later. In the meantime, we have this beautiful sunny day here as we leave the San Juans. Thank you for watching this episode as we finally returned to Everett, our home port. Join us next time as we prepare the boat and get ourselves all staged and head off on our non-stop passage from Washington to San Francisco Bay. So until next time, wishing you no wind and flat seas. Bye.